Number 8, we have two terms. That's not going to be the FOIL method unless it's the difference of squares. But these two terms here, we can see we have a common factor of 3, and we factor out a 3 and we get 3 times the quantity b plus 3. So 3 and b plus 3 are the two factors in the numerator. And then we have this trinomial, which doesn't have a GCF other than 1, so we have to factor it using the FOIL method. We have b minus 2 times b plus 1. And guess what? We don't have any common factors that we can cancel. So what we do is we either just leave it alone like that, or we leave it factored. The only real need to factor is if you can cancel a factor. So if you can't cancel any factors, at least try and then realize, well, I couldn't cancel any factors, and so you could just rewrite you just use the original expression as the answer. So we could call this a prime expression here, which we can't factor at all. So it's as simplified as you're going to get here. Again, the only reason why you'd factor is if you can cancel or if it would help you simplify the expression. So either answer would be acceptable on that one. All right, let's look at number 9. Number 9, we can factor out a 2 from the numerator, and we are left with k plus 3. Again, if you wanted to multiply out your factors just to make sure that you factored it correctly, then you would do just that, and you could do that mentally perhaps. 2 times k, that's 2k. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, check, got that. And then here we can factor out a 3 from the denominator, and we end up with k plus 3. And so this is a nice and convenient one where the more complicated factors cancel and we just get 2/3. And finally, the most difficult of all the factoring type problems. Oh, no, you know what? I messed up because I'm noticing here in the numerator that I have 3 even numbers. So I was a little hasty there. I want to factor out a 2 first, and that's going to leave me with b squared plus 2b minus 3. Now, downstairs, don't be hasty here as well. There are no common factors besides 1. So that, if it does factor, would only factor using the FOIL method. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot right here. I know that two factors of 2b squared have to be the 2b and the b. And then most likely when I factor the 9, it's not going to be 9 and 1. It's going to be more like 3 and 3. So fortunately, the 3 and the 3, I don't have options. I have to put a 3 there and a 3 there. But then I have to think to myself, if I FOIL this, I've got an outside being 6b and an inside being 3b, and I have to have them add up to positive 3b. And the only way to do that is if the 6b is positive and the 3b is negative. And so what caused it to be the 6b? That was multiplying the 2b here and the 3 on the outside. So that's the O in FOIL. 2b times positive 3 gives me a positive 6b. And then a negative 3 times a b gives me a negative 3b. And when I add the outside to the inside, I'm going to get positive 3b, and that's exactly what I wanted to get because that's my middle term up here. And the last times the last, negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. And so we have one more step, though. We still have to factor what's remaining in the numerator, and that's also hopefully going to factor, I almost said prayerfully, hopefully going to factor here and give us one of the factors in the denominator since we've worked fairly hard to get to this spot. So b and b, and then 3 and 1, so it looks good. So we have a plus 3 and a minus 1. And if you check the outsides, 3b minus 1b, that's a 2b. All right, good. So we do have a common factor. And here you have a decision to make. You are allowed to leave it factored, 2 times b minus 1 over 2b minus 3. Remember, we don't need parentheses in the denominator or in a numerator when that's the only factor. So we can leave the parentheses off of the 2b minus 3 here. So you can leave it like that, or you can multiply it back out. I think it looks better when it's left factored, but you have your choice here since we can't cancel any more factors, and so totally up to you. Now, don't make the mistake of trying to cancel those 2's. Remember, cancel factors, not terms. 2b is the term in the denominator that's associated with the minus 3. So you can't cancel the 2's here. I know your eyes want to perhaps do that, but be really, really careful about that. Cancel factors, not terms.